It's a South Indian derby and it's the best of the lot. I'm talking about Bangalore versus Chennai. This fixture's already happened, remember, in IPL 2022, and it was the men in yellow who ran away with the victory. But this time around, can it be the men in red? WV Raman is joining us on the show and he'll tell us a lot more, so don't go anywhere. Yup, as usual, my name's Avnish Hegde, and of course we have the coach, the man himself, WV Raman, joining us right now, who of course is shooting from his house once again. WV, how are we this evening?
Oh, I'm well, thank you. How are things with you?
Going on, kind of nervous given the fact that RCB really need to win 4 out of 4 games in the remaining of their season to potentially qualify. Let's start with them then. I mean, what do we say about RCB and how they've kind of been on this slide? How do they arrest it, first and foremost?
That's one side which has always baffled their fans. It's baffled people like me, isn't it? RCB. It's always been a great side on paper, but somehow the results don't match the side that they have. It's been happening almost every year since IPL started. So that's something that they will be really sort of hurting about. The thing is that even this IPL, they got off to some sort of a start, but things have again sort of not looking good for them. Primarily, it seems to be a problem of not putting enough runs on the board, despite having a lot of big guns in the ranks. Now, look at that batting lineup: Faf du Plessis, Virat Kohli, Glenn Maxwell, Dinesh Karthik. Now, what else do you want in a T20 over match? You've got all there is to have, all the firepower. It's just a question of going out and bulldozing, is what you would think. But that is what this T20 is all about. It can always keep throwing surprises at you, even when you think you've seen it all.
I mean, it's interesting that you say that because look, runs on the board is so crucial. And the last time when they took on Gujarat in that Saturday afternoon encounter, they got to about 170. But many people reckon they were 20-25 runs short. Now, of course, fingers immediately pointed Virat Kohli, even though he got amongst the runs. That 53 ball 58, was it a match-losing knock in hindsight?
No, the point is you can't really pin it on one individual. The problem was that Dinesh Karthik didn't get runs. Maxwell, yes, was there briefly, but the problem is that they need to try and make the batting order look longer. By that I mean they got enough all-rounders in their ranks like Shabazz or Asaranga even. Throw them in at 3-4. Make Maxwell and Dinesh Karthik play the last 5-6 overs. And if they both in tandem get going, you know what they are capable of doing. It's just a case of Dinesh and Maxwell not really getting to bat together. If you look at the other sides, you look at the big hitters like Miller and Tewatia batting together for the Gujarat, and you'll see similar kind of combination doing their job for the other franchises. But here you need to try and see if you can somehow, yes, it's not going to be possible always, and as much as possible, send them back to back and try and give them 5-6 overs, which means that psychologically the opponents are always going to be a bit concerned with these two out there in the middle in the last 5-6 overs. Yes, it's all a case of even playing mind games too. It's not just the physical effort that goes into cricket. There's also something called mind games, and you need to be doing everything possible to put the opponents off and keep them where you want them to be.
Yeah, I mean, some fans, of course, have been saying that they're lacking flexibility at the top of the order, but you've reiterated the fact that they could do something out of the box, maybe Hasaranga, Shahbaz, depending on the situation. Now, what about the bowling? Because one man who, of course, they retained and who hasn't delivered, according to many people outside, pundits and fans alike, is Mohammad Siraj. Now, what's the advice you'd be giving him? Should RCB drop him, maybe go out there, go back to the drawing board and reassess? How do they kind of play those cards well?
You remember Joginder Sharma?
Yeah.
I'll tell you why I asked you this question. Because he was made to bowl by Dhoni for the simple reason that he was one guy who would do what the captain tells him to do.
Correct.
In a high pressure situation. Now, why I am talking about Joginder Sharma when you talk about Siraj is simple. Siraj also needs to be downloaded as to what he needs to do. Faf has to have chats with him very regularly, tell him what he needs to do. Because Siraj is easily excitable and he's not experienced enough for him to work out as to what needs to be done according to situation. You can't blame him because the bowlers are always under the pump, and he's also really keyed up to do well. Let's not forget that his ears also would get to hear a lot of things spoken about him. He'll come in the air. So, which means he's trying to prove a lot of things to a lot of people. So, to have that calming influence and make him do as well as he can, it's very important for Faf to have regular chats with him and guide him almost on a ball to ball basis.
Yeah, especially those fourth overs of his have been going for plenty. So let's see if they kind of bowl him out at the start and then not kind of give him the death where he's been conceding a lot of runs. Let's see how that story unfolds. But good sort of analogy there comparing him to Jogendra Sharma. Before we move on to CSK, just want to pick your mind. If you were Mike Hesson going into the last 4 games, WV, and if you had the full authority to pick a side for RCB right now, who would it be and why?
I won't make too many changes. I would just try and see if I can make the opponents think the batting is much longer than it is, apart from the fact that it's very powerful, and also try and get Faf to have more conversations with his bowlers. Now, it's a question of also the bowlers not having enough runs on the board at times, but that's how it goes. You can't do anything about it. But if some team is going to get out for about 60s and 118s, there's nothing much the bowlers can do, can they?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for reminding me and all the other fans about the 60s, because SRH blew us away that day.
No, what I'm trying to tell you is, it can't be squarely blamed on the bowlers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at Rituraj and how his season is kind of unfolded. It was horrible for him in the first, I think, 5 or 6 games, if I'm not wrong. And then this 99 will do him a world of good. Generally, when he's on song, WE, my question to you is, where do you rank him among the great pantheon of Indian openers right now in the IPL?
I think if you were to only gauge him by just that innings, I think he's streets ahead of everybody else. I'm talking about the younger crop. I'm not talking about, I'm not including him in the same bracket as, let's say, Rohit Sharma or KL Rahul. If you're talking about, let's say, if you can use the phraseology next gen, I think is streets above all of them, for the simple reason the time that he has to play the quickest of bowlers with the ease with which he plays, and also the repertoire of shots that he played against them. Normally what happens is the batters tend to plan to play in one particular fashion, which is to look to play just off the back shots of the back foot or just wait for the ball to be pitched up. But there he was, absolutely clear in his mind, nothing running through his mind at all, and there he was responding. And you're talking about responding to guys who are bowling 150 kilometers per hour like Umran Malik and then Jansen. Now, these are not run-of-the-mill trundlers. These are serious quick bowlers, and mind you, they can generate good bounce as well from just short of length, just back of length, what is fashionably called these days as test length. So you're talking about real quality of batsmanship and also a high degree of skills. And this is backed up by a fantastic mind. Here is one guy who has been struggling to get back to form. The previous game, he gets a little bit of a glimmer of hope, sliver of hope. And then look at the knock that he plays when his side needs him the most. And that is what you need to really look at a youngster, is clarity of mind and the felicity with which he plays the quicker bowlers both to the front and the back foot. Okay, predictions then, RCB or CSK, because I know that you always support the yellow, but for my sake and lots of RCB fans, surely you're on the Red Army on this occasion. Not always. I don't support any side blindly, but I tell you what, just to spice up the tournament, I want CSK to win. Okay, just to spice it up, set the cat among the pigeons. Don't, have a top 4 already decided before you have the final 2 rounds of matches to be played. Let's get on with it. Let's have some excitement. I mean, it's no exciting time. I know that's not what you want to hear, but there it is. That's me. Anybody who knows me, they know that I say what I want to say. I don't say things to please people.
Yeah, I know, and I'll take that with a pinch of salt and accept it from you in terms of predictions. But I'm going to stick to, of course, the Red Army and RCB. So let's see who really comes out in this prediction between WV and me. But until the next time, and until the post match on Wednesday, catch us then, because it's going to be an enthralling chat once again with this man. Don't go anywhere. Keep watching and subscribing. We'll see you soon.